like Ben Affleck movies. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming his newest one is good as well.
Hopefully we've seen it tomorrow.
Gary puts his thumbs up and is giving a very
good.
very knowing nod.
Not Bollywood.
The thing I love about Bill Maher, A, he's super smart. B, he's very funny. I agree with him on many topics, and we disagree on others. But that's the other thing, too. Why does everything have to be completely across the board? You know what I mean? Like, we disagree on some things politically, but we're atheists. We think pot should be decriminalized everywhere. Why can't we go along with the 5 things we do agree upon and leave the 2 things we disagree on? Why does that have to overwhelm the maybe 8 things we agree on?
Have you experienced this with Bill Maher?
No, not because I think because Bill Maher's actually a sort of genuine guy where he goes, I disagree with you on this, that, and the other, but we do agree on this, that, and the other, and we're both comedians who are expressing our opinions, and he and I have always gotten along well. I don't have a problem with him, but I like the idea. I also like the idea that he doesn't just toe the company line. Like, he is a Democrat, and here are the things that Democrats agree on, and so he must agree on every single thing on the menu. And that's what he does. And when it comes to extreme Muslims, he does not. And I think gets a lot of shit from his own friends, colleagues, and party because he basically just calls it like he sees it. Look, there's trouble going on in the world. It's coming 9 times out of 10 from this group, and we got to start focusing on it and calling it what it is. This is him, and Gary chopped this up. I didn't get a chance to listen to it, but he had a guy, I think this Sam Harris, not the pop singer, but this guy wrote a book on spirituality, and he just sort of came in and talked about it, and he started talking about the Muslim religion, and Bill Maher was doing what Bill Maher always does, which is not all Muslims are terrorists, but there is a group that is larger than you would like within that religion that we need to focus on, and then, of course, everyone's thing is, oh, you just called all Muslims terrorists, which is, when did this become, like, if you say this group is struggling, a portion, there is a group within this group that is struggling at a higher rate with this problem
than the general population.
When did that become you saying everyone in that group is that?
I wonder if, we'll see the clip, but I wonder if they would say that off the air, like if they're doing it for TV, if it's sort of a confrontational. I think there's
some grandstanding, but let's see. So this is Sam Harris and Affleck sort of get into it, and so does Bill. Here we go.
So hold on, are you the person who understands the officially codified doctrine of Islam? You're the interpreter of that, so you can say, well, this is...
I'm actually well educated on this topic.
I'm asking you. So you're saying if I criticize you're saying that Islamophobia is not a real thing. That if you're critical of something...
Well, it's not a real thing when we do it.
Right.
Well, no,
it really isn't.
I'm not denying that certain people are bigoted against Muslims as people. And that's a problem.
Big of you.
But
why are you so hostile about this concept?
It's gross. It's racist.
It's not. But it's so nuts.
It's like saying
it's so not. You're
shifty Jew.
You're not listening to what we are saying.
You guys are saying if you want to be liberals, believe in liberal principles like freedom of speech, like we are endowed by our forefathers with an inalienable rights, like all men are created equal.
Ben, we have to be able to criticize bad ideas. And
of course we do. No liberal doesn't want to criticize bad ideas.
But Islam at this moment is the mother lode of bad ideas.
Jesus.
So we have like blasphemy.
He looks taken aback.
It is one basic liberal principle of tolerance.
Let me unpack it.
But not for intolerance.
No, of course not. But the picture you're painting is, to some extent, true, but is hugely incomplete. It is certainly true that plenty of fanatics and jihadis are Muslim. But the people who are standing up to them, Malala, incredible Muhammad Ali Dadak in Iran, in prison for 9 years for speaking up for Christians. A friend that I had in Pakistan who was shot this year.
I like when the guy's making his point. You guys don't understand. This is a peaceful religion, and many people are standing up to it. The one guy's in jail for 9 years for helping Christians. A friend of mine was just shot for speaking out against these people. You don't get it. It's like, I like when the guy makes his point within he's making my point within making his point. Yeah, you just named 2 guys. One of them's dead. The other guy was imprisoned falsely for 9 years. For doing what? speaking out against throwing acid in the face of schoolgirls who are reading. Like, hey, whoa, there are plenty of voices in the Muslim religion that are standing up. This guy, he got shot. The other guy's, he's in the hole. Mm-hmm. Okay. I think you're saying a little something. What if you were just talking about Judaism and you went, oh, yeah, this guy, he spoke out. He's dead. Anyway.
These are not the best examples.
Well, he's giving, these are the best he has.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
All right, here we go.
Rashid Rahman for defending people accused of apostasy.
Yeah, how about the more than 1 billion people who aren't fanatical, who don't punch women, who just want to go to the store?
Wait a second. Wait a second.
Don't do any of the things, but you're saying all Muslims.
Wait a second.
It's a bit of a reach.
Wait a second.
And you painting the whole religion with that.
So to give you one point of contact, 78% of British Muslims think that the Danish cartoonist should have been prosecuted. 78%. So I'm being conservative when I roll this back to 20%. But outside of that circle, you have conservative Muslims who can honestly look at ISIS and say that does not represent us, that we're horrified by that, but they hold views about human rights and about women, about homosexuals that are deeply troubling. So these are not Islamists, they're not jihadists, but
those views are anathema to ours.
But they also keep women and homosexuals immiserated in these cultures, and we have to empower the true reformers in the Muslim world to change it. And, lying about the link between doctrine and behavior is not going to do that.
A lot of the great divide. Let the guy who knows all about the religion get it out of his system.
Is not between Islam and the rest. It's rather between the fundamentalists and the moderates in each faith.
Okay, but we're misled to think that the fundamentalists are the fringe. Okay, we have jihadists, Islamists, and conservatives.
Well, and by the way,
it depends hundreds of millions of people.
You're saying that the strongest voices are coming from those who are jihadists and extremists, and that represents a bigger piece of the pie than we often think is true.
There's no question.
Okay, so having said that,
he's chewing on his fingers.
Even if that is true statistically or otherwise, the key thing to recognize that I don't think is part of the argument, but I think should be, is that there are voices that are oftentimes raised in opposition.
Affleck rubbing his brow. He looks like he's at the World Series of Poker final table.
They don't get covered. They don't get exposed. And they're not given the same level of platform.
He looks like George C. Scott, hardcore.
The reason they don't get exposed is because they're afraid to speak out. Because it's the only religion that acts like the mafia that will fucking kill you if you say the wrong thing, draw the wrong picture, or write the wrong book.
Thank you, Bill. There's one more clip where then Ben does the thing where you have to do it's like saying all black people. And by the way, it's 2014, everyone with a black president. Do we have to keep going back to that? That's like saying no black people can run. Well, it's this weird argument where you go, look, there's a group within this group that is killing a lot of people. And they go, you just said all Muslims were horrible people and needed to be executed. It's like, no, I did not. That's not what I said. You just said, you're painting this thing with a huge brush. You're like, no, but what is it? It's a weird argument. It's just this weird circular argument. First off,
it's intellectually dishonest.
I know, but it never ends. Like, all right, Ben, what is your argument then? What shall we do? Because according to you, Bill Maher just has to shut the fuck up. He just should shut up, never say anything. And then what? And by the way,
I feel like he's just trying to communicate to everyone, hey, I'm not bigoted, I'm not racist, and I'm going to murder my lips with my fingers.
But all Bill Maher ever says is, hey, progressive folks on the left, here's a group that is flying in the face of everything you stand for and their treatment of homosexuals and women and everything else. So let's see if we can focus on that a little bit. And everyone just goes, oh, that's racist. And it's like, it's racist. Turning a blind eye to what they're doing to women and homosexuals and anyone, or just reporters or people that don't believe in them or whatever, that's insanity. And but also, what's Bill Maher doing? Just making this up? Like, I used to do politically incorrect every 10 minutes. This wasn't an issue. This is pre-9/11. Well, Bill Maher didn't bring it up. You know, it's not like he got into it before they started getting into it. He's just kind of reporting on it. All right. But anyway, Ben looked like he was going to eat. What was he
fuming.
doing?
He was
like
frustrated.
zipping his lips with his fingers.
But what would his point? What was his ultimate point?
If my half-formed theory is, and tell me if you can put a finer point on this, is that what makes Ben Affleck a really good actor and writer and director is what makes him poor in this arena, which is intellectually, the intellectual argument maybe doesn't quite. He thinks and argues with his heart, and that's what makes him a good actor. He feels things with emotions, and to him it feels right, so it is right. And maybe intellectually it's just not. You know, the intellectual
But I feel
debates.
like his argument was Muslims aren't bad. Shut up.
Right.
He's sort of speaking in melodrama, like broad strokes, and it's like,
but not
they're
to
talking
make
in specifics.
not to further the conversation, just to like shut the guy up is what. That's how it struck me.
Yes, and the other thing, we've talked about this many times recently. Do you ever? We talk about the guys who haven't been told to fuck off in 2 decades. Ben Affleck hangs out in a group where when he pontificates, they're all ears, and it's not like Matt Damon then pushes back. This is a very rare circumstance where he's in a group, because think about the group that he runs with. And think about when he's starring in a film or directing a film and he's holding court during lunch. You think there's some grip that's piping up and shouting him down or laying some stats on him. He's used to just rolling along, and the idea that he has to sit there and hear something from a guy who may be more educated on a topic than he, and he has to just sort of sit there and eat it, you could see physically he didn't know what to physically do with himself. Like, he looked like everyone else. You know, Ann Coulter goes on that show. People call her cunt 200 times a day, and she sits there and she reboots and she reloads, and then she comes back again. And, you know, Huffington does the same thing, and everybody does it. Bill Maher does the same thing. Ben Affleck was sitting there like, I haven't had anyone disagree with me for this long in 20 years. Like, I'm surprised he didn't stand up and yell, "Get off the set. You're fired. You're gone. Go ahead and complain to SAG after you're gone.
What's your agent's name?
Yeah, you're out of here." Like, he physically didn't know what to do. And by the way, when he was being hit with some statistics and the guy was being respectful and conversational, he just went like, "Oh, God, okay, all right, okay. I can't get up and leave. I can't throw my coffee in your face. I have to weather the storm." But his body language is
I don't think he realized he was on camera.
It was insane. All right, here's our last point.
Not convincing anybody of you.
If you don't understand my argument,
your argument is like, black people, they show each other.
That is not my argument.
No, it's not. It's based on facts. I can show you a Pew poll of Egyptians. They are not outliers in the Muslim world that say like 90% of them believe death is the appropriate response to leaving the religion. If 90% of Brazilians thought that death was the appropriate response to leaving Catholicism, you would think it was a bigger deal.
I would think it's a big deal no matter what.
Okay, but that's the fact.
But what I need you to say, it's
you get the same thing. Yeah, it's like saying blacks.
Yeah. No, it's that grandiose emotional response that I think is what makes him a good director, actor, but not a good debater.
Right. But you do realize what not having anyone argue with you for a very long period of time sort of does to you. A, you don't formulate very good arguments. And B, your body just sort of turns into, ugh. But by the way, it made me realize, like,
he turns into one of those guys outside of a gas station.
Yes.
Imagine bringing home a super shitty report card to him when you're 13. And just that look, just that, okay. And you're just sort of waxing on, like, you're just going, now listen, geometry, obviously not one of my strongest suits, but Mrs. Parker is not helping at all because she had it in for me from day one, and you could just see him just like, literally, you haven't seen anyone on camera physically do that with their hands and their face and their body.
It was like a tiny temper tantrum.
He's crawling out of his skin.
He started turning different colors and things like that. He was
turning red.
But by the way, the guy Sam Harris is just an atheist who wrote a book on spiritualism. Yeah. He wasn't really saying anything.
He's not even really making an argument. He's just kind of reporting what he found.
But it wasn't like, hey, gas up the drones. We're going after those towel heads. He was just like, here's what we know.